guys, so I'm back with this thing. So when I was making the previous video, the engine coolant temp sensor video, I turned it on and I was letting it run for a little while so it would start to warm up. And I had the earmuffs on because it was really loud in the garage and I didn't want to sit in here for 15 minutes with the engine running because it's kind of loud. I don't have mufflers on yet. So I had that thing on there, and then some of you guys have been saying in a previous video, in like some of the previous videos, that you think you heard the engine ticking a little bit. So I wasn't quite sure if it was from the exhaust noise, because I've heard previous videos and I've heard it myself where the exhaust noise sounds like a ticking. So I couldn't hear it personally until I put the muffs on, and then I started listening to the engine because the noise in the garage was kind of muffled, like the exhaust noise was muffled, so I could hear the engine a little bit, and I did hear a tick when I would, especially when I would rev it up, I heard a tick. So I started looking into it a little bit more, and then decided when I got home from work today, I'd pull the pan off, and I wanted to check like the oil pickup O-ring and stuff like that, and just give it a once over, make sure everything is good, and I was getting good oil pressure. The engine did sit for a while before I put it in here, so I'm thinking that the lifter's probably just bled down a little bit. So anyways, I'm going through, take the oil pan off, take the oil pickup off, and guess what I found? First things first, I guess. I took the old oil out, and I did go through this, and it was smelling a little bit like gas, and I thought I actually smelled gas on the dipstick a couple times when I was looking for the injector leak. So like, it kind of smells a little bit gassy. And then when I was going through, you can't really see on the video, but I thought I saw like metal flake swirled around in there after I dumped it out. So that was a little bit concerning to me. So I did pull the pan off, and I started looking around inside here. I'm like, oh, it looks pretty sludgy. Maybe it's just old. But then I found this fucking thing, and this thing, and this thing. Yeah. And then I saw this little pattern on the back, and I'm like, that really does look like a piston to me. Interesting. So yeah, that's cool. Here's the windage tray and the oil pickup tube. Found a couple more pieces. So these were sitting on top of the tray, and these pieces were actually in the bottom of the pan. So I didn't really run the engine that much, so I'm trying to figure out if this was like this when I bought it, or if it was something that I did to it. Alright, so we're back underneath. Got all this junk opened up. So this is what I was looking for. And I'm just looking around. Everything's peachy, except for when you get right over here. It's on the top side of that piston. It'll be hard to focus on it, but there's actually a hole in the top there. You can see that pattern on the bottom section. That's what we were looking at before. So that piece is just blown right out of the center. But other than that, every other piston looks good from what I can see. The cam looks good. The cam has, a lot of oil on it dripping off it, so I'm pretty sure it's oiling properly. I don't really see anything else that looks bad, so maybe I can just throw a new piston in that one and send it, right? Well, I got some good news and some bad news. I guess the bad news is the hole is in the piston, which we knew about. Figured out which one it is. You can see it from the inside though. But the good news is the cylinder wall, everything is perfect still, so that's good. They probably could use a hone. They're a little glossy, but happy that that's okay. I should just be able to slap a new piston in there. And I figured out what caused it. Somehow it looks like there's a bolt. This is standing up. It's all smashed in there. Looked like it was bouncing around inside there for quite a while. I did throw some oil in it upside down just because I wanted to see if that valve was going to be leaking at all. And unfortunately it is. The good news is I figured out what's happening with it, or what caused this issue. And I'm going to take that out. I'll probably use like a little Dremel or something and just take down the high spots. throw a new piston in it and go and see what happens. I'll probably pop that valve out a little bit, maybe clean up the valve seat, see if I can get it to stop leaking, but other than that, I'm just going to throw a piston in it and go for it.